And here we are. Here we are.
Here where?
Well, I'm here, you're there, but I think
Oh,
that's a relative
right.
term.
It probably
Daniel,
is.
I have to ask, why are you so mean to Alexa?
It's not that I'm mean.
Hmm.
It's just that I'm very direct.
Yes. And
Because
stern.
well, no, not stern. It's just that when you're speaking to
Hmm.
your personal assistant,
Hmm.
you're sometimes you say things and
You mean
you're
the bot one, though, eh? Like,
and
because you don't
Alexa,
have a
yeah,
personal assistant, like a,
right. And Alexa goes,
or is that
"Oh,
me?
you say something like turn this thing off," and it goes,
Hmm.
"Oh, this other completely different thing doesn't support that." And you're like, "Wait, no, that's not what I said." So you can't say please, you can't say those kind of things. Yes, no, I don't have a PDA, although I think you could say your phone is probably a PDA. But I had a PDA back in the day. It was a Dell Axum or something like that. And I went all in. I bought like components that you could plug in. One was a GPS
Oh,
doohickey, so the maps, so it had
yep.
a map thing.
Was it one of those cards that you had to slot in with an aerial at the top?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I also had I think I had like a Wi-Fi. No,
A
there was
what?
something else. A
Your
Wi-Fi
PDA
card
and
or
wife?
something.
I mean, finish the word because you said
No,
wife. You didn't
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
This one. Or is it a cell? I don't remember. But I had different module. I mean, I went all in. I was big on this PDA for about
Mm.
9 months. Yeah. Did you have a PDA?
Yeah,
Do you have a Palm Pilot?
no, no, not a Palm. I had the it was a compact variant, and you
Hmm.
could plug a keyboard in
Oh
there that folded
yes,
up. Yep.
yes.
So I,
Oh, I
I
think I had
also
a
had,
keyboard too. Yeah, yeah.
yep, and I had that card as well with the crazy little aerial. And funny thing, I mean, back then, mobile data was very, very costly.
Hmm.
Uh, and I was on a job, and oopsie daisy, after letting it do its thing, there was quite a large bill at the end of
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, huge. They were cool. But yeah, back to talking nicely to your
Hmm.
personal assistants.
Okay.
So you can't say please, and you have to talk to
Well,
them monotonously, like you have to talk to them
right.
like a robot.
Well, not like a robot. We all know this. You can't be crazy with them. You can't use slang. You can't. Um, Sometimes, I mean, saying please, fine, but
Mm.
there's, if you have any devices that are remotely close to, sounding like please or something, I don't know. It just, it can be more complex than you want it to be. So just say, turn on blah, and just, you know,
I noticed that you didn't actually finish that sentence because someone might be listening.
So I actually have my Alexa supposedly doesn't listen all the time. It's a push button device. You have to push the button. I say supposedly because one day, a few years back, it was probably 3 years ago, there was a conversation happening in the presence of my device that you're supposed to push before it connects to Alexa, and having a conversation about some obscure movie that no one had even thought of in 15 years, and then went and looked at Amazon Video,
Mm.
and it was the featured movie, like through the scrolling thing.
Ah, that
Like,
old thing.
come on, you're not supposed to
Yeah.
be listening. So the thing's listening, apparently.
Well,
I
at least
guess
at least you would hope so when you tell Alexa to turn your backlights on or off.
now.
Yeah. Now, sternly, not the back porch. My backlights in my office. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're at time, and it is time. See you soon, everyone.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. We are here again. We are gathered here today to celebrate
An
the week that
unholy
was.
matrimony.
Do you remember? Right. Do you remember when we used to say that? It was the week that was.
Yeah, yeah, and you
Back
told
in
me
the
no.
day.
This is the title of the show is far too long, Daryl. It's not a catchphrase, it's a
It
catch
was
paragraph.
it was a pretty long. But for those that have been watching the show for a very long time, kudos to you.
Thank you.
Daryl will be sending you a nice gift for all those that have been watching for so long.
I've forgotten how post works. Our friend Damien Lewis is still waiting for his stickers. I'm terrible.
That's terrible. I
It
can't
is.
believe that.
Yeah,
you
no,
would
he
treat-
asked like months ago, and I said, "Oh yeah, I'll get some stickers out to you."
I can't believe you would treat people
So
like that.
disappointing.
So, hello, Sandy. Glad that you're here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 247. This is, if last week's episode was the Microsoft Stream episode, this week is the Microsoft Teams episode number 423.
Yeah, because most of them are right.
Right. That's my point. But we have 6 updates that are basically Teams updates. So,
There's some good ones. Oh, that's a nice
indeed.
mug.
There's
Very nice mug.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
It says Microsoft.
Yeah, careful.
it's,
Just angle it a little bit away from that. No.
Oh, there's
not paying for
another-
anything. No.
Here we go. They're a great company. Their software is on everyone's computer in one way or another.
Somewhere. Yeah, that's right.
So, for those that are audio podcast, I have a nice mug that has a Microsoft logo and the Adobe logo on it as well. I actually got that at the 365 EduCon conference in Seattle, and the next one is in Dallas coming up next month. Hit me up if you'd like a discount code. I'd love to see you there in person. But
Cool.
Let's take a pause, our normal pause. Everyone, please, let's go ahead and hit the thumbs up down below this video or the audio. Give us a share.
Well, Daniel,
give us
we've
a
got
like.
to deliver value first.
We're going to deliver some value, we promise. So give us a thumbs up and go ahead and share this content out on your social channels. We are at 365MCS everywhere. So go ahead and share that out and tag us so we can amplify you as well. Thank you, everyone. Yes, we talked about having Teams messages, Daryl. I'm excited about our first one. It is, I think, been something that's a long time coming that I'm really looking forward to.
Returning.
Well, returning.
It's that old parody with the Skype for Business joke again.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Well, tell us about
Yeah.
it.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine. If you insist.
No, really, it's your message.
This is like I said, this is one that I'm really excited about. This is pop out shared content into a separate window, MC399491, and this is rolling out early August, and expect the completed rollout to be end of September. Which I want to step back just 1 second to say, normally Teams has a pretty quick rollout. Most of the messages talk about a rollout that takes just 2 or 3 weeks sometimes, but here we're talking about 2 months, so that's very interesting. Anyway, this is all about taking that content, the shared content, whether it's a desktop or it's a PowerPoint or whatever's being shared in your Teams meeting, and popping it out so that it is in a separate window. So that you can take advantage, 2 big reasons I see. Take advantage of your multiple screens. So being able to see the shared content in a way that is bigger and takes more use of the space and is not hampered by faces.
I think this is better, Daniel. The screenshot
Nice.
and the message was meh. This is our thumbnail.
thumbnail for this absolutely is it's Darrell has taken a picture of his laptop showing the people and then popped out the content on a external monitor. And that's where one big benefit, being able to focus on the content and see it really well that way. But then the second is still being able to see people's faces. So we've been able to focus on content, but in that you lose everybody's faces, and so you can't see the reactions. And I think that's a big part of our meetings and our conversations, is seeing how people are reacting and seeing how they are reacting to what's being said and what's being presented.
Well, this is another good example, Daniel, of why you would use it when there's a lot of content on the screen. Maybe someone's shared their whole desktop and they're using a 4K monitor. I know that you can scroll zoom into content, but if you shift it over to a larger monitor, then it's closer to being able to see it.
Indeed. So I have seen this in action. It works really well, and I can't wait for this to be the default for everyone, to be able to pop it out again and be able to focus on people and content, because we've had to choose. Before this, you'd had to click to, several times, you have to click the person and to see. Anyway, we get to do both. Best of both worlds here. So you don't need to do anything. It talks about updating your training and documentation, which, hopefully your documentation references a lot of Microsoft's documentation, so you don't have to update it so often. But I'm really looking forward to this one. Another one, Darrell, is, we're enabling functionality, but sometimes when you disable some functionality, it's heralded as the best thing to come to Teams in a very long time by some. So tell us about the removal of that redheaded stepchild.
Wow.
I don't like this feature, so I'm glad they're disabling the auto.
Yeah, but isn't it telling if this is big news and everyone rejoices that we've removed configuration change, disabling auto provisioning of the wiki in new channel creation MC399867. So for many of us who provision teams, and we've chosen to not build a culture around using a wiki tab, our very next click is remove the wiki tab from the general channel. Well, it's not going to be a auto provision thing, as the title suggests, that coming in August, when you provision a new channel or a new team and you see the first general channel, you're not going to see the wiki tab. If you still want it, if you still want to use it, it's still going to be there in the store. And I have seen it being used in a few places. It's nice to see, like, say, a tab which has information about a certain environment, and maybe the wiki tab has been a nice, simple way for a team to quickly update information that everyone needs to see about a channel or about the kind of work that goes on in it. But yeah, so if you still want it, you can add it. It's not going to be auto-provisioned. They also suggest too in this message that if you have any processes that do something with that wiki after it's auto-provisioned, that you might want to update those because the wiki won't be there. That may also include removing the piece of code that removes the wiki, because it won't be there to remove.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. You know that code that organizations deployed to remove the wiki? Well, you're going to have to remove that code, because thankfully it's going to be there. It's not going to be there.
Yeah.
Is the way to
what do
look
you
at it.
think they'll suggest as a replacement?
Well, I hope for me and many that really never understood why in the world the wiki was there in the first place was, why aren't you using OneNote? Because every team has that backing of a SharePoint site, right? And you have a OneNote. So why not use a OneNote that gives you that capability, but then has the extra capability of being able to consume that content on your mobile in a OneNote app, or on your desktop as a OneNote app, You're not tied to Teams. Why use the wiki in that case? You're right. A lot of organizations have used this functionality. I get it. But for many, I'll just speak for myself. I really didn't understand why in the world we were doing something additional. I do kind of understand because of the way Microsoft is structured and their teams are structured. But anyway, so.
Well, I like Pete's suggestion too about putting a SharePoint page there, especially if it's just informational, it's static. If we need something where we do need to add to it occasionally, sure, you could edit the page in Teams because you can do that now. But something like a wiki or a OneNote page is ideal because it's already there and in edit mode. But yeah,
well,
cool.
And Sandy agrees with me here. This is what I normally do. I almost always add the group's OneNote to replace the wiki. That's what I was just saying. So, I like the ability that if you want to use it, it'll be there. But let's not force it on everybody. It's just another tab space being taken up that we don't need.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, very valuable real estate. Well, Daniel, tell us about changes to external chat.
Yeah, this is our third Microsoft Teams update that we're talking about today. Microsoft Teams External Access Chat Invitation Flow for Managed Organizations. That's an interesting title. MC 400-204. This is rolling out mid-August and be completed by early September. So when you get, and this is all, I love this. It should have worked like this from the beginning, I think, and I'm really glad they're doing this. When you get a new one-to-one chat from an external user, not in your organization, Teams will allow you to say, I want to allow this conversation or block it. And it will then also, if you block them, will revoke that access for presence from them. So it is if you're open federated, right? Meaning you allow external people to chat with you, then, and I frankly, I have said I like that for organizations, especially organizations that are service organizations or they have a lot of partnerships and everything. I kind of like it. But then there's always but I get inundated by people who shouldn't be, sending me chats. So this is going to be a great, simple way to be able to accept that chat or block it within Teams. What do you think, Darrell?
Well, I think we see this in other social apps, and there's a middle ground where you're ignoring it, so you're not, you're still able to see the messages. And here Teams deals with it this way by allowing you to preview the message, because you'll see this warning before you see the message, I think. And so if you want to see what's actually being said, then preview the message. But let's see. So at least it does tell you where it's come from as well. So if it's a domain you don't recognize or, just looks dodgy, then you can preview the message and then decide whether to accept or block. I guess those are the only two choices. It's not like you're offending anyone by parking it and saying, I'm not really friending you and I'm not really connecting with you, or I'm unfollowing you, but I'm kind of interested in what you've got to say so I can decide whether I want to talk with you or not.
Yeah. So Sandy X in the chat room, Sandy's on point today. She's asking, wonder if this will be able to block people who have already chatted with you.
Oh yeah. No, you can do that.
And yes, definitely, it also provides that ability to block users at any point and, hide the presence information. So definitely.
Yeah. So moving on, I guess, with another Teams update.
Yet another one. And and when we get done, I'd like for you to rank our Teams updates by which ones you like.
Very, very clever. Well, this is a new type of poll question for Microsoft Teams. powered by Forms and Forms. It's MC400205. And in rolling out early September, there'll be this new poll question where you can set it up with the different choices and you'll be able to rank those choices. So that means I believe that if we have a look at our message here, you've got two ways of being able to shuffle these around. You can either push the up or down arrow to change the order. I think these are handles that you're supposed to be able to drag into a different order as well. So you drag the choices or change them and then submit your choices. And the good thing about this kind of poll is sometimes when you've got a list of choices, it's not necessarily about who voted for what in terms of their highest choice, but maybe it's the second choice or third choice that people have in common. So it is getting towards more of a consensus, even if it's not everyone's first choice, as they would say. So you submit that, and then if we find our trailing message here too, once that's been submitted, you can see 30 responses, and most people have voted for fish. It's beat out the dog. The cat, it's done okay, but birds, no. Sorry, you lose.
We just had a meeting this morning, company meeting, and there was an icebreaker with a bunch of questions. Now, these were kind of that this or that kind of thing, right? Where you have would you rather, is what a lot of people call it. Would you rather, and then you have two choices. That's not this, right? Because there were several. It was like, I might be able to rank these, but I don't want either one of these. So, but this is nice. I really like this idea because you're right. Sometimes it's not a question of, or a decision of, I want to pick just one. There could be two on a list that I am equal, and you're forcing me to pick. Okay, there's value. I think sometimes there is value in forcing people to pick, but if it truly is a, really close, and you want to get an idea, and sometimes you might not be happy with the way it's ranked, so you might want to choose number 2, right? The second one rather than the first, for some different reasons that maybe people didn't understand. But anyway, I like seeing it.
Choices don't have to be so polarizing, do they?
We really do need some audio. Maybe I'll put that in the audio pocket. Maybe not. But it would be a rim shot.
Oh,
shot.
Yeah, very good. All right. Well, moving along, what have we got next? Let's shake the dice and push the up arrow. Another Teams update.
Surprise, surprise. This is Microsoft Teams.
Tell him what he's won.
Well, you've won usability improvements to in-meeting notifications. MC 400-206. This will be rolling out early August, completed by early September. So there's a lot of August updates here we're talking about. And what this is going to do is bring those updates, the notifications that are happening in Teams. So chats, people raising their hand, all of those kind of notifications. They're going to be kind of an overlay in the middle of Teams in the top to kind of bring that and highlight it. So we're showing here just the screenshot from the message. There's the pop-up that says, hey, your network quality is bad. Do you want to join by phone? I don't think I've ever seen that one.
But we're going to get to all the nuances and strangeness in this picture, but I've just spotted another one, Daniel. So
okay.
Continue, please.
And then, when people raise their hand, have it pop that. Chats. So think about this as you're in a meeting and you're having a conversation and there's chat going on, but you don't see the chat because you haven't clicked chat, to show it. This is going to show those chat bubbles happening. Now, could that possibly be problematic? I don't know. We'll let you decide that. So I have seen this working. There's been some interesting, how can I put this? Some interesting ways this plays out and causes you'd have to change behavior of the way you use Teams. One is, and this is not a, Darrell's talking about, there's some problems with this screenshot, and we could talk about those. But one is, it really highlights if you're the poor soul that gets put, your video is in the top middle, you're getting covered up because that's where those pop-ups are happening.
Adi Kapoor has been spammed out of existence.
Exactly. So in this screenshot, you can see it. It covers up people. So not the greatest experience there. But the question is, where would you put it? And, I don't know. Combined with the pop-out message we talked about before, this is going to, follow that. So you're going to see it on the stage and see the pop-outs. But anyway, it is, I think it's an improvement. It's just, you're going to have to get used to seeing this, seeing there.
It may pop up because we're thinking about that stage in our message earlier. We're wondering whether it will pop up over the shared content or still over a grid of people in their video. I think maybe it's kind of stay in video now that I think about it, because if you're presenting content, you don't want messages popping up over the top all the time. So
I agree, but the point is, when you're popping out content, to focus on content. So, it should be everybody looking at the content and occasionally looking over it, at faces maybe. I don't know. If anybody has experience with it, we'd like for you to throw it in chat or comments. You can comment on the audio podcast as well as this video. Give us comments. Tell us what you think about this, if you've had any experience with popping out content and having these.
So should we have some fun with this?
Let's have some fun.
Image. Okay, so first off, we noticed that Babak Shemus, his profile photos from when he first joined the company 10 years ago, because he's asking everyone to turn video on, and he's turned his on, but Babak has got lockdown facial hair. He's looking pretty slick, really.
Yeah,
really,
he is, but looks different. He needs to update his profile photo.
Yeah, totally.
Sure.
Yeah, he's had some lockdown facial reconstruction too, I think.
Yes.
We've got Adi Kapoor, who has raised his hand, but nobody wants to hear what Adi's got to say. He doesn't have a yellow outline to say that his hand is raised, but nobody wants to know, so they've spammed him out. And the last one I saw here, Daniel, was that Babak is actually saying, "Hey, can you everyone turn your videos on?" And he's exclamation mark. It's really important. However, we're getting a message here about poor network quality, so we're probably not going to do that. We're going to join by phone and upset Babak. Yeah.
All right. Enough of. No, I don't think. I think it's enough petty stuff we're going to be, laughing about. But we all know this is a stock Teams photo that they're showing this content over. But anyway.
No, there was one more, but.
Oh, was there?
Well, yes, because Charlotte's she's saying something, but she's not. So, what noise is happening in that room that's causing the microphone to?
Well, maybe she hasn't turned on the auto feature to take out the background noise. So maybe there's construction happening outside her window.
Or maybe the background noise was awfully loud.
Yeah, very loud.
Moving along. What have we got?
Well, let's talk about WXP.
Oh yeah.
And how this is a message that pretends to not be a Teams update, but it is.
Yeah, it really is. And it's nothing to do with Windows XP.
That's right.
Recent changes to Word, Excel, and PowerPoint integration in Teams, MC 400957. Can you spot the WXP? It is a new acronym which supposedly describes the combination of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. They're now available as Teams personal apps. Teams personal apps are the ones on the side rail, which is actually called the personal app bar because it's your experience of those apps. You can choose to add some. Your admin chooses to add some. So you'll be able to go there and fire up Word, fire up Excel, use some PowerPoint. This is independent of when you open a attachment, a document, and it will open up in Teams if you want it to. No, this is when you might want to author a Word document, or maybe you want to go back to the recently opened WXPs Do I have to say that?
No, you
WXP apps. No, okay. So you'll have the ability to pin your favorite apps if you wish. You can right click that icon and oh, you can right click the app icon in the app bar and pop out the documents in a new window. We were talking about that before we went live. Why would I author a document in Teams? Is that going to prevent me from being able to, chat at the same time? And, actually on that, Daniel, what's missing? What else is changing in the Office experience within Teams?
Well, it mentions it there in the list, but the big thing that kind of pops out, no pun intended, is the conversation button is removed. So that is that feature where, within, if you're using Word or, using an Office product and you're working on a document and you want to have a conversation powered by Teams, a conversation about it and then with others, you can do that. But it's saying you won't be able to do that when you're authoring with this experience. So that's peculiar. Frankly, Darrell and I were talking through this before, and we did a little, kind of a pros and cons of why you would and why you would still want to have that conversation button. So, and be able to have that conversation. Where would that conversation happen if that document's not in a team? All of that. But still, it seems kind of odd, doesn't it, to not have the conversation button?
Yeah, I mean, I like having conversations alongside content. We can have comments inside the document that are more specific to change this paragraph, give this some attention. But then you have conversations around the document, and that's what that feature was for, to click the button, start a new conversation, continue to talk about that document. It's a bit sad that we don't have that anymore. I wonder what the behavior is going to be now when you attach a document to a conversation thread, or maybe you start the conversation thread with a document. How do you open the conversation alongside the document? You don't, I guess.
Yeah, and it's the other. I wanted to also point this out is the open in browser and open in desktop app are going to move to a different menu. So that's right above the conversation button.
Oh, yeah.
Well, 2 points. So this is a little bit of training, I think, for end users. So this is something you should maybe add to your brown bag lunch or whatever your lunch and learns, because frankly, I find myself, and this is a safe place, right, for where we can talk about these things. I often find myself trying to figure out where's that stupid button to open this file up in the desktop app. Like you have you have the file open in Teams somewhere, right? It's in Teams, and you're like, I just want it in Word. I just want to pop it out because I want to use Teams too.
Yeah.
Right. I want to do both. I want to pop out the document so I can work on it now and work on it later, but I also want to have chats and go to my meeting and everything else I want to do. So anyway, that's
realization, Daniel.
Yeah.
With all this pop-out capability and it being our headline, that's how you have conversation alongside content. You can pop out the document and you've got the conversation in a separate window.
Yeah, and that's great, but then now you got a different functionality based upon if you click the pop-out button or not. I just, yeah.
We'll see how it plays out, but WXP, everybody.
Yeah, come on. Okay, last up is not a Teams update.
Oh, maybe.
Imagine that. Maybe. Record a new video on the Stream Start page in Office Web. MC400-977. This will be early July rolling out, so a week earlier-ish. A completed rollout by late July for targeted release, although it is not in my tenant, so I guess I'm more of a late July on this one. General availability early August through late August. And simply this is going to be, you're going to be able to go to the Stream Start page. Now this is the new Stream, the Stream 2.0, if you will. It's not the classic Stream we're talking about. And you're going to be able to, on that page, have a button that says new recording. So you're going to be able to upload or go ahead and record right there. And be able to do all the wonderful fancy things you'll be able to do in Stream. You can do, when you're working with that file, you can of course do effects and change options and such for your video. So it'll be there. You're not going to have to do anything or update anything in your tenant. It will show up at that new experience. You can go to stream.office.com and it'll redirect you to the new Stream experience, new Stream landing page. All right. I think that one's simple enough, Darrell. I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Oh, only that, just to keep it consistent with all the other Teams updates. You could then share it in Teams.
Oh my goodness. You just took the one thing I had, Darrell, and you took it away. No. It's good. You circled it on back to Teamsville.
It happens. Well, that is it for we're just a little over time. We're getting better at trying to keep it within the half-hour limit of people's attention.
When you bring quality, right, then it's okay.
Or
maybe next week we'll bring quality.
Bring quality. We'll work on quality.
Thank you so much, everybody. Remember, though, please share and tag us. Several in the chat room. We've got, a dozen or so there live, and several I know of you have shared out our episodes over the past couple weeks. Love for you to do it again, but calling all of the rest of you, hundreds of you that watch and listen, go ahead and share and tag us at 365MCS on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, Insta, and TikTok. Tag us.
Daniel, you've been really doing some great TikToks and remixing our content.
See, if you follow us on TikTok, you will see it. We're going to do some awesome stuff there this week. So thank you, everyone, for joining. Really appreciate it. And stay engaged with the community throughout this week, and we'll catch you next week with all the new updates.
Bye for now.